Oh, why, hello, friends. Welcome to Andrea Lake 101, The Making of a Billionaire Secrets of the Apprentice, Part 7. Oh, yeah, here we go. We are on episode number 4, even though we're at number 7. So, hey, look, today is May 22nd of 2025. If we are pre-gaming Memorial Weekend. I am supposed to be in Sedona, Arizona right now, but I am not. No, I am not in Sedona, Arizona today. I am in San Diego, California, and I am doing an Apprentice episode. So I was at an impasse. I was supposed to go to Sedona for Memorial Weekend, but nay, my friends, no rest for the wicked. I am a busy gal, and usually when I do the Apprentice episodes, oh, I have a glass of wine. Yes, I do. So I was like, okay, I can't go to Sedona. I do have to work all weekend. However, I was supposed to be in Sedona, so this is going to be a wine in San Diego weekend while I get a fuck ton of work done because StickerJunkie is banger banging, is all of the banging all of the time. Come on. The quantity of new public libraries, Planned Parenthoods, women-owned small businesses, colleges, Fortune 500s, government contracts. The amount of all of our favorite clients, so many cool breweries, so many cool dispensaries, so many cool coffee shops, so many cool bookstores, all of the things, so many cool LGBTQ businesses. We are going to Pride in San Diego. I just caught glimpse of the first Pride promo stickers. Stop it right now. These are the ones that are going to be in our June Pride sticker packs. And then these are the ones that are going to be at San Diego Pride Fest, July of 2025. David, banger job. And then the whole art department helped with some colorations and stuff with the San Diego ones. And David created these really cool style guides. So I can't wait for the next Sticker Wars episode where I update you on everything StickerJunkie. I'm sure some of that'll be sprinkled in because so fucking much shit is happening. I'm going to get into the Apprentice story, don't worry, but I texted my friend May right before and I said, girl, I am exhausted. Exhausted. You guys, I'm not exaggerating to you when I say I made a pact with myself to work all day, every day for 27 months. Yes, it's month 21, so mommy is tired. I have been working all day, every day. One of my girlfriends said to me, "You look great. You don't look tired." And I was like, I don't fucking know at all how that's the truth because I am exhausted all the time. I'm working so much on so many things. So it is an Apprentice episode as we roll into this Memorial Day weekend, which instead of going hiking in Sedona, I mean, the trails are crowded. It's fine. I'm going to go next weekend. It's fine. Instead of hiking in beautiful, my fucking favorite Sedona, Arizona, I will be getting my books reconciled up to date and taking on all my CFO things that I sort of fell behind on in Q1 and running projections for everything because now we are in a phase again where we are outlaying money here and there and everywhere. However, we're also in the part where we're closing the deals. Thank God. So the rest of May, June, July is just going to be closing the deals on huge, ridiculous, huge StickerJunkie clients, which let's go. So I will update you on everything StickerJunkie next week. But today we're going to dive right back into Secrets of the Apprentice. Part 7, episode 4 of the actual show, which is playing again on Amazon Prime. So you can watch season 5 of The Apprentice. We are talking about episode 4, which is the post-serial challenge, in which the teams had to go and break up into 2 teams and create a billboard to be on the side of a freeway. Now, granted, with my experience, I should have crushed this. I should have fucking killed this. I should have knocked this out of the goddamn park. So let me tell you why that did not happen, okay? This is the real T2 because we're going to talk about sleep deprivation, which now I know that I have a lot of parents who listen to this. I want to be really clear. I had never experienced sleep deprivation before because I do not have kids. So I did not know I don't even know how people in their 30s or 20s or 40s or whenever they're having kids, I don't know how they're functioning and showing up at a job and going to work. I literally don't. And the more kids, the more I don't. Because I am so sleep deprived at this point in the show on The Apprentice. This is episode 4, so we would have been there maybe for 8 or 9 days. So I am 8 or 9 days in to getting an average of 2 hours and 12 minutes of sleep for every 24-hour period. So I'm going a little cray-cray. Okay? How could I not? Let's be honest. And so is everyone else. And Mark Burnett and co, yeah, they're plying the place with alcohol because there's these, I mean, we were well taken care of on this show, okay? So let's talk about that because this is a fun little behind the scenes of reality TV that you might not get everywhere. Now, I want to be clear. I don't really know how reality TV runs today because back in my day, there was really like ABC, NBC, CBS at the time that we were on the air, and like Bravo Network, which had just, I think maybe just come out with Top Chef or was just about to come out with Top Chef. Like reality TV was so new that there were very few reality TV shows, very few when we filmed this in 2005 and it released in 2006. And so it was really in its infancy and finding its footing. And because there weren't that many, and because this was owned by a major network by NBC, and there was budget behind it. So like we were well taken care of. So there was this like whiteboard or hang up, whatever. There was a thing you could write on in the kitchen and you could just say whatever ingredients you wanted and they would magically appear. Well, this comes in important later with the food poisoning accusations that are going to come against me. The production staff shopped at Whole Foods because apparently that must have been like the closest supermarket. You know, it's hard in Manhattan, right? Like I live in San Diego. I have a Whole Foods very close to where I live and I still drive there because I can load up my groceries and go into the parking garage and just take the elevator up and it's easy. But in New York, you're really just walking because you cannot find parking. So you might be walking for like blocks with a bunch of groceries. So you're going to go to the nearest one. And I was in heaven because I ate so clean and organic and vegetarian when I was, 32 on this show as a yoga chick in like perfect shape, ate the best diet you could eat. And that wasn't as normal 20 years ago as it is now. So I would put like very specific, my favorite things from Whole Foods on the list and they would just like magically appear, which is why it's extra weird that for some reason I couldn't get olive oil. I don't know what the fuck happened, but they would only give me Pam, a spraying oil. That comes in important in like 2 more episodes down the line. But anyway, so there was all these grocery lists and there were people in the, on the show that were eating some fucking crap ass food and were super not into wanting anything from Whole Foods or anything organic. And they're like, can't you get like grocery store milk? I don't like this organic milk. What does one chick really liked milk? I don't like milk at all. It's gross to me. But so we were well taken care of in the house. But the other thing that you could write that you could want was legit, literally any kind of alcohol. And there already was a bar in there. I'm sure they would have had weed if we was legal in New York back then, obviously. But there was like every kind of alcohol you could imagine already in a little stationary bar within the suite we were at Trump Towers. It was like the 3rd floor of Trump Towers was the suite that the Apprentice candidates would stay in. And if you wanted a different kind of alcohol or a mixer or something, in addition to the already very well stocked quantity of alcohol, then no fucking problemo. We will just go get that for you. But truth of the matter is they would accommodate us in literally every way if we just wrote down anything that we wanted. And so not only is everyone sleep deprived, but a whole fucking lot of people, instead of getting 2 hours and 12 minutes of sleep like me, would just stay up for a whole 24-hour period, like plus alcohol. Yikes. That's a recipe for good television. And Mark did well by that. Like his recipe has worked across multiple different TV shows over the years because you have very attractive people who are very tired, very sleep deprived. Give them alcohol if they want. It was a free will situation. I didn't drink. I know like Tarek didn't drink. Like a couple of people on the show we just weren't drinkers. But the people who were drinkers, man, that would make all of the more extra potential interaction that you could have. Okay, so we're in this magical wonderland of the suite that we all live in, and people are plied with alcohol and incredibly tired. And everyone on the cast has main character energy, right? They're fucking on an early day reality TV show. Of course they do. So we're about to go to Post Serial and get this task to do a billboard. Which, fair enough. Like, if you guys are not signed up on StickerJunkie email list, like, let's roll tape on like the ad that we did with the pollen for the bees for World Bee Day, the ad that we did for the tariffs. How fucking cute is that? You already saw the Pride stickers, there's a Pride ad too. So like our marketing is good. So it is fair to expect that I am going to come up with a good billboard. And I truly, I mean, I'm just me. And I've started so many companies and I know how to start a company. So I have been carrying every task because not that these people aren't smart and great, but like they don't know how to create a product in 24 hours and a whole marketing scenario behind that product. Like, has some of them studied it in school? Sure. Did most of them go to school for something very different than that, like fucking being a lawyer? Because there were 4 lawyers on my team. Yeah. Do you learn how to do a product launch in law school? No. Do you learn every single skill that I need to keep myself safe when I talk fucking smack on a podcast or roll out a thing or want to have some coverage in some way or I'm litigating over a trademark or. I love lawyers, like truly. And I cover my ass in every way legally I do, but I don't go to them for advice on how to launch a product, nor do they come to me for advice on how to cover something legally. It's a really different skill set, like a really, 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 really different skill set. So of course I'm running a lot of the tasks for a lot, like behind the scenes, I'm just like, okay, well, you do this next and you need to figure this out first. And like, what are your XYZ? So we get there and we get this delivery from Post to do a billboard. I want you to remember that this is from memory. I am not rewatching the episodes. I keep saying I'm going to, but like it's a lot and I don't even know if I'm ever going to. But then they put my team into a room where we are going to create the billboard from with whatever directive it was. And this room is filled with huge, like poster size, bigger than a normal poster, like movie poster at a movie theater, plus a little bit bigger than that, sized posters of cereal boxes. They put us in this room with all of these posters of all of these cereal boxes. And we are tasked with coming up with a billboard that people are just going to drive by real fast on the freeway, which I actually know how to do. You saw my Don't Kill Grandma campaign. 3 words, real big, real easy to read at a glance, real not dangerous to have on the side of the road because you're going to glance at it for a second, you're going to see it, you're going to read it, you're going to be done. For anyone that is new to the pod, I'm not going to tell the whole story because it's on a previous episode, but I was asked by a big group that was counseling the CDC in the early days of COVID to explain to the American people, like, how do you keep people to voluntarily stay in their house? I'm not having an argument about COVID or anything that happened next or whatever, but I mean, this is fucking early, you guys. This is like January, February of 2020. And there was going to be a campaign because everybody in that world knew that the lockdowns were coming. And they went with this thing called Flatten the Curve, which is a bad idea. And I explained exactly why that was a terrible idea. And I was like, you don't know how to talk to the American public. This was my idea for a slogan to say, hey, there's something really bad out there. We don't know very much about it. And it's going to kill a lot of people because it's already killing a lot of people. And if it goes wide, like it puts hospitals in sort of this wartime decision making of like, who's going to get that ventilator? There's only so many ventilators. And if there's a 25-year-old that's in the hospital is very sick with COVID, this thing is probably going to pass totally out of their system within 2 to 4 weeks. And they're going to live the whole fucking rest of their life from 25 to 75 or 80. Or there's somebody else who probably has abused their body in all kinds of ways, maybe, or maybe it's just genetic. Who knows? I'm drinking a glass of wine. I'm not talking shit. And they need that ventilator forever for the rest of their life. And they're 82. And the rest of their life is dependent on them having that ventilator or else. Who's getting the ventilator in that wartime situation? Yeah, the 25-year-old every time, just no exceptions. So this was my slogan to explain to people like why you need to stay inside so that hospitals aren't overwhelmed in that way. For those of you listening on audio only, it says don't kill grandma. And it's just a big black and white thing. You could do it with a white background and black lettering or a black background and white lettering with a cute little sketch drawing of grandma. That's the level of understanding that I have of how to talk to the American people in like a very fast 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 word max situation when you're driving by a billboard on a freeway. It was fair to expect that I would bang this out of the park, but I'm exhausted and I've never designed a billboard before. And I've designed a bunch of back cover ads on magazines, except for it's a little unfair to say. I only actually designed one myself, which is a very good ad that we ran for a long, long time. It was very simple. It was very much like a billboard. It said like, my monkey made me do it, custom sticker, 100 custom stickers for $25. And it was on the back cover of Maxim and Blender and Stuff and Rolling Stone and High Times magazine and any magazine that was coming out in the early 2000s. So I did know how to really convey a fast message through slogan. But when I tell you I was tired, girl, I was tired. I was tired. I was all of the need to fall asleep right now 100% of the time and not thinking clearly. And I was in an office where there were all these posters of cereal boxes. So I designed, because I really was largely in charge of the design, I designed something that looked beautiful. I mean, it looked perfect. I have a good design eye. Go look at my office or my house or my website or the advertisements. Obviously, I have very talented artists like David and Courtney and Michi and Wendy and Hayden. Dana is such a talented graphic designer also. I have so many talented graphic designers working for me. So when I have an idea of a graphic design, yeah, mommy is not designing it herself. I'm not doing that. I'm not the one that goes and creates the design because I'm not an artist. This beautiful background behind me, this beautiful collage style, ransom style, collage style behind me, if you are watching on YouTube, I love that style. And I was a collage maker. I've made so many collages through my life. I actually was a collage artist when I was in my late teens, but I didn't do this. David did. So even when you look at me in my podcast studio, for those of you on audio only, it's a cool looking studio. Dana put it up with Hayden and Brian, and the stickers behind me, Dana and Michi and David did a collab on the stickers behind me, and they're gorgeous. And so it looks just perfect. It has elements of my Power Chick Mafia logo in it. And Michi chose a super great font for the Andrea Lake 101 logo. And then David did this very cool collage style artwork. And I was like, yes, that. And then they gave me a bunch of options and I was like, yes, those. And then I just said, hey, this is catching a lot of shine behind us. So they just reprinted all of it in matte, which I'm going to put up in my studio next week. But I'm not the one that's actually placing different stickers in different places or doing different artwork designs, or certainly when you look at something like the tariffs are coming, beautiful ad that we did. I had the idea of oh, Paul Revere on a horse and whatever, but the monkey, but David drew this whole beautiful thing. So when they're go create a billboard, I'm I could get any idea in my mind, but I'm actually not a graphic artist. I'm actually not an artist, even though I have a good eye for stuff. And so while I was in this room surrounded by cereal boxes, my billboard looked exactly like a cereal box, which guess what is actually a hazard if you're driving down the highway. They didn't even make that big of a point on it on The Apprentice, but it actually is. It has way too much going on. It looked like a cereal box. And so the bottom line basically was it had just too much information on it. And what you want when you're driving down the freeway is something like "Don't Kill Grandma." And the other team came up with a logo, and I remember it to this day. I am not rewatching the episodes. I actually remember it because it actually was a really good logo that said, "It's that good." And it had this attractive young athlete pouring it, dumping the cereal into her mouth after she got done with a workout, in a sports bra. The photography on it, honestly, was not good. The coloration was not good. Nothing about that part of it was good, but it was fast and you could read it at a glance. If a professional agency got that idea was really good. The execution, I mean, come on, we had 12 hours and it was fine. It was fine. But whoever came up with the slogan as a slogan writer, it's great. And whoever came up with the concept of they know they only have 1 second and you're going to whiz past it. Why I didn't think that in the moment, only it was because I was sleep deprived. And then I was also disliking because the people on my team were really disliking me at this point. Right? Because I'm not only am I winning, I am fucking winning hard. And now every time Trump sees us, he's like, none of you are going to be able to beat her. Did you just see what she just did over there at that Tahoe challenge? None of you are going to be able to, but at this point, Donald Trump is so disengaged with the whole process because at a lot of the tasks, Donald Trump didn't even have time to come in. Remember, you guys, he's running all of his own companies while he's casually on the side shooting a TV show, which I can relate to right now because I'm selling a TV show right now for real. On top of us pacing up our scale in StickerJunkie this calendar year by 500%. I am also trading my portfolio, which is up by 38.1% so far this year. Am I lying? No, I am not. I know my book is called You're Going to Think I'm a Pathological Liar, but no lies were told. My portfolio is up 38.1% so far this year. That's why compounding returns are amazing. Donald Trump is running his whole business organization while filming this TV show. So sometimes he couldn't even come and see tasks. So like legit, I can't remember if he came on site during my Chevy Tahoe task, but if he did, it was not at the right time. And I do remember thinking something like either he didn't actually see it or he saw it, but like not at the right time because there was obviously varying levels of exciting things going on during that task. And I didn't realize anything about the show. So I also didn't realize how very little he would have to do with the production of the show. I had found out that was not the case in like the early seasons, but this show, nobody thought it was going to get renewed again. So he was very much just like press and play by this point, which is super understandable. And I am guessing the guy had more important meetings to take. I remember thinking that he was just fucking with my fellow contestants when he would say that, because I'm like, I'm doing well and I know that he likes me, but he doesn't see me like shine. Even though I did shine, like he's just sort of getting feedback from other producers on the show about like what happened that day and then raising those questions during the boardroom. And to varying degrees is not that. It's just like just another part of his day that he has to do, even if he is tired and doesn't want to. And so I did give that energy of like, this is just part of my job whenever he would show up and stuff. So we're on the post serial task. I literally don't remember who the project manager was. And we lose. And Brett is still on our team. I have pushed him all the way to the sidelines of any responsibility of anything ever. And then I'm always segmenting myself away from wherever he is on a task. And no matter who the project manager is, they get it that I'm the chick that has already launched 7 or 8, or I don't even know how many companies by then, and at least 3 or 4 or 5 multi-million-dollar companies by this point. I just don't want to be near him. And whoever is the project manager, honest to God, is just incentivized to make me happy because I have launched 7 or 8 companies by this point. 3 or 4 or 5 of which have been multi-million-dollar companies. So if you give me a deliverable of a thing that looks like a real business product within 24 hours. I am one of the, 1 million people out of 8 million people on the planet. There's a lot of people that know how to do that, but there are serial entrepreneurs because they've done it and they've fucked up and they did it really bad a lot of times and then they figured out how to do it well. And I'm just one of those people. Maybe there's less than that, probably. Maybe like 150, 200,000 people globally that are going to be able to I've done this 20 times. I know how to do this. I've done this 7 times. I know how to do this. And when I would be like, I will do XYZ, but Brett needs to be on somewhere else. He needs to be doing something that is not right next to me because I cannot have that kind of distraction because I'm all of the annoyed. And he had gotten my face that morning and called me a see you next Tuesday. And we're on this task. And to my recollection, he was not near me, but I haven't watched back the show. So maybe I just blocked it out and he was right next to me the whole time. I have no idea. And I make this billboard and it reminds me of any post cereal box, dominantly orange, looks kind of like a Nike ad, but way too much information because I really was looking at these cereal boxes and putting another sentence here and another sentence here. And what it would have been great for is a magazine ad. It would have been amazing for a magazine ad, not for a billboard that you're driving by that you have 2 seconds to look at. And I didn't see it until I saw it. So we're at the big reveal at, I think Post is owned by General Mills, if I'm remembering all of this correctly. And so we're at the corporate headquarters. And it's huge. I mean, we are meeting all of the C team of huge Fortune 500 companies. And I am just a business junkie. I really do love business the way some people love football. This is like my Olympics. And I am just cool, give me the task, put me in coach. And I did not see it until I saw it. And it was a big reveal where there were 2 huge banners, which, Donald is a fan of unfurling big banners in front of buildings right now. There were 2 huge banners, right? 200 feet, 100 feet. They were so long. 200 feet's aggressive, 100 feet. They were so long. It is this big reveal and it's in the lobby of this atrium style, crazy kind of entrance to a building that is kind of common in American architecture where you walk in and it might be a 4 or 7 story building. Right. But that first walk-in main lobby area is straight up to the ceiling, to the top of the whole building ceiling. or just about. And you can see the different layers of staircases that go down all of those 7 floors with sort of like half open walkway viewing areas where people can look down into this atrium. So when I say that this banner came down and it was maybe like 100 feet tall, that's aggressive. It probably was. It was probably like 60 or 70, but it might have been 100. I mean, it was big. It was a drop down of both the people's banners. And if I remember right, they were weird because they were supposed to be billboards, but they were actually like vertical banners because they were way taller than they were wide, which normally, of course, a side of the road billboard is more wide. So maybe it was for like an ad that was going to be on, the center of Times Square. I really don't remember, but that it was more of a banner that was that size to where it was a tall rectangle. And the second I saw it, I was like, oh, we have this in the bag because our colorations were perfect. The artwork was beautiful. It truly did look like a world-class magazine ad or cereal box sort of magazine ad. And even Trump, when he first saw them, he was like, well, I don't know. Like they're both good in different ways, which is completely accurate. Ours was great if it was a magazine ad, and theirs was like, meh. The artwork quality, the color combinations, the composition, the general composition was not like beautiful. But the ad itself, the slogan itself, banger. Banger. As a slogan writer, it's that good. The rest of it was like fine. The photoshopping was not very good. The chick's face was kind of away from it. It was a strange angle at her body. Like the whole thing was weird. Then I don't remember what the color was. I feel like it was lavender, the main color, but it might not have been because I know it was a long time ago. But it felt kind of pastel and like it was not. All of the things in the shot even wasn't that sexy, which, they're going for an athletic sports just post-workout look, but nothing about it was like over the top aesthetically pleasing, other than you wouldn't get in a fucking car accident because you were to try and read a sentence on like a cereal box ad. Because we were putting full sentences at different places as if whatever, it was not a mission not accomplished, but it looked good artistically and aesthetically. And so he said something like, at first glance, they kind of seem equal in different ways, but the more I look at it, the more I like one of them. And I truly thought he was going to say ours. And then he said the other one, I was like, what? Because artistically, it really just wasn't that great. But then I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is supposed to be a billboard like in Times Square or on a big, heavily trafficked area. Nobody's going to sit there and read little sentences. And once I saw it in context up on this like 100-foot tall thing where all our little sentences look silly, you couldn't even read them from where we were. And there weren't even that many, but it was like way too many words. And theirs was just like, it's that good with whatever little picture of somebody gobbling it up as much as they could. And the picture wasn't even that good. I was like, oh shit. Oh, how the fuck didn't I see that? Because I would have come up with some little rival 3-word phrase, might even have been kind of similar. If I would have really seeded it in my head, like, oh, you're just writing like a bumper sticker slogan. Like, why are you putting all of this like extra information that you feel like has to be in there for some reason? And it was just because I was surrounded by those ads. So dumb. So we go to the boardroom, but I didn't take that much accountability in the moment because as I was having this revelation, it was as the banner was being shown in real life form. I was like, oh, right, it doesn't catch your attention the first 1 second. But there wasn't much, there was no conversation going on between us. And I would have said that because I'm a really honest person, but it just really never came up. Then we go to the boardroom, and I don't even remember who the project manager was on that task. But I know for sure that like Brett's going to go home because it's crazy that he's been there for so long because he's such a distraction. And so we get in the boardroom and eyes are on like him and someone else. And the other chicks on my team are trying to throw Donald my way and he's not having any of it. And neither am I. I'm just like, what are you doing? And then one of them said something to me like, well, Andrea was in charge of graphic design. She said she's really good at graphic design. And I'm like, excuse me though, no, what I said was I have like 10 or 12 graphic designers on my staff. I'm not a graphic designer. What? And I said it kind of like that in the moment of like, fucking duh. I'm not a graphic designer. I employ graphic designers and I tell them to go do something. Well, I don't know how to go design something myself. However, that is how I answered. But in all truth, I really should have seen that. I really should have seen it because I know what a billboard is and I just was exhausted. And I didn't sort of really understand the assignment because it was confusing when they would do deliverables. Sometimes like everything was fast. So I'm not like being unreasonable. So then he looks at me, Donald looks at me and goes, orange though, why orange? Which is hilarious now. And I look at him like he's crazy and I go, yeah, I really like orange. Like obviously this Power Chick Mafia logo over my head, there's orange in it. I always use yellow because it's obviously my favorite color. I even love like gold with bright yellow, yellow, yellow everywhere. But orange is one of the best marketing colors. And I looked at him and I said, that's why companies like Nike and Gatorade use orange as their logo color. I really like orange. Don't you like orange? And I like kind of did this thing with my hands where I'm like, don't you like orange? And he's like, yeah, orange is a good color. I'm like, yeah. So that's why, and I did say this even at the time, this is very early to have made this observation. This is the freaking truth. I was like, yeah, that's why all the shopping cart push buttons on Amazon and Zappos and any huge retailer, come on, this was in like 2006 or whoever I said. I didn't even know if it was Zappos that I said, but like Amazon and all these places have done literally millions of dollars of research of what's going to make somebody click that button like 0.01% more of the time because of how much additional revenue that will bring. And there is a reason why every checkout button on every website, or 95% of websites, is either orange or gold. And it's because people click on that because it's such a powerful color for marketing. So of course I like orange. And I gave that like level of detailed of an answer with the Nike thing and with the checkout button thing to the point because they were trying, like the chicks on my team were trying to say, well, she chose the color and why would anybody choose orange? And I'm like, because the biggest brands in the world do. What even are you talking about? You could make that case for virtually any color, but orange is an easier color to make that case with, or red or yellow. He just kind of looks at them because I say it in such a way of like, are you fucking kidding me right now with this question? Like, Obvi, I'm sorry, did Nike choose the wrong color? And so he was like, yeah. What kind of argument is that? So he kind of looked back at them like, yeah, orange is great. I like orange or something, which is hilarious. That would be episode 4, season 5 of The Apprentice, because I actually think that I think that we have a conversation about how good of a color orange is. I cannot right now. I'm dying because I did smoke a lot of weed before I did this episode, and that's a hilarious story. And you guys, I'm not even fucking joking you. I'm going to give you a spoiler alert ahead for episode 8 of The Apprentice, when I once again was project manager and I explained how much superior of a promo item hats are over anything else because it's a logo that people wear on their foreheads. And the only thing that I could get was white hats, and I fucking swear to you, I said, I really wish these were red hats because a white hat has way lower perceived value than a colored hat, especially like a red hat. Did I say that? I really did. Did it make the error? I don't remember. I think my brother told me that he rewatched it and it did make the error, but I really did. I really was like, no, you got to catch people with a bumper sticker slogan. You got to have it before words. My whole thing with bumper slogans, which is why it's crazy that I fucked up that billboard because those chicks could have thrown me under the bus for real. Now that I'm looking back at it, they only could throw me under the bus because I had the most knowledge about every single part of business. So of course I knew more about what an ad should look like. I also knew more about what product generation should look like, or how to get anything reproduced, or how to very quickly make any promotional materials in a pinch in the middle of the night in Manhattan, or how to very quickly like get a hold of a person who could bring a 6-foot rock wall the next day to a park, because I had done shit like that within my own businesses. This is like a game to me. This is like a fairy tale adventure. This is like somebody wrote a game for me to just go play and do my best and put like every weird thing I've ever done into play. So I really did fail that billboard challenge, but at the same time, I was the only person in my team that we even have been able to compete and come up with a very quick ad challenge. We were spending $1 million a year on magazine ads, $1 million a year, $85,000 a month on magazine ads when I went on that show. So I knew how to construct an ad. And so that I failed at it on that day on some of the metrics was like, I also was the only person who had ever put together $1 million worth of magazine ads. So it still like looked good what I gave them. So I kind of just basically said that in the boardroom. And then Brett keeps trying to throw heat at me for not like utilizing him properly in the previous task, or I don't even fucking know. He's like, well, she treats me like a child. And I think that's when I actually said the line, well, if he behaves like a child, I'm going to treat him like a child. I'm not even going to say that I'm not treating him like a child, because I probably am, because he's not going to do anything that I tell him to do without creating chaos so that he can be on television. And I wasn't supposed to say that. I wasn't supposed to mention that I was on a show. I wasn't supposed to mention that anybody's motivation could be for something for TV, but I did say that. Brett in the boardroom of the post cereal challenge tries to bring up something from like that morning's argument or something that I told you about in the previous episode. I don't know what he said. And Donald Trump goes, well, you can't say that so easily though, because like you're doing fine and you're a lawyer, but like she's a self-made multimillionaire. So you can't just criticize her in business because she's a self-made multi-millionaire, so you can't say that so easily. And Brett was like, ooh, and like backed way down, and I was like, yeah. And so it kind of justified actually the line that I obviously wish I hadn't said. Go watch the previous episode if you don't know what I'm talking about, or listen to it, Secrets of the Apprentice Part 6. But it really did validate what I had said earlier, even though I didn't need that to be validated in that boardroom. And then Brett went, when he was going to explain something, I just was so tired and so exhausted and so over it. And you guys, these boardrooms would last for 4 hours. Am I joking? I am not joking. For 4 hours. So I just wanted him to fire Brett and let me go back downstairs and go to sleep because I was exhausted. I was all of the tired. I was 100% of just only wanting to go to all of the sleep and sleep there for as long as I could until we got up in like 2 or 3 hours from whenever my head hit the pillow to go do another profoundly exhausting, like 27-hour task. I was having none of any of this. And whenever Brett started to say that I was bad in one way or another, or demanding or trumping the project manager or being bossy or fucking every single thing I've heard a million times before, that I'm just like, stop it. If I was a man, those are not the words that you would be using. Shrewd, smart, a profoundly good negotiator, talented, assertive. It's a very different word set when you're a woman and you're exhibiting really strong leadership roles. As he's sort of trying to attack me in these very, mansplaining traditional ways that I have heard my whole life, I am just like fluttering my eyes. I'm rolling my eyes into my head and my eyes are closed because I am all of the not wanting to hear any more of anything that this dude has to say. And Donald Trump goes, Andrea, what is going on? You look disgusted. You look like you want to vomit right now. And I hate the word vomit. It's like one of my least favorite words, but he goes, you look like you want to vomit right now. And I go, And I said, I think it's just a joke. He's just making a mockery of everything we're doing here, and he has to leave now. This is done. Like, we've had enough of this. And now it just is like degrading the whole show, or like whatever I said. It's just not. Let's stop, because this is just making a joke of all of it. Because we're over here doing our best and working our hardest, and he's just blundering over there for screen time, basically. Because again, the dude's a lawyer. I'm not saying he's an idiot. I'm saying that he had a strategy on a reality TV show that got him a lot of airtime. And it was annoying to me, and it was extra annoying to me when I was tired. It wasn't hard to make me look like an ice princess, because I was just like all of the aloof. I'm all of the like, I don't care if you don't like me. I already don't like you. So why would it even bother me that you don't like me? That just means we just saved each other a whole lot of time. We're nobody's homies here. One of the chicks who like had an alliance against me was super upset years later. This is what happens with the wine episodes. She was super upset like a year later because I had a birthday party at my house in Santa Fe for like one of my big birthdays, like 32. And I owned this house, and it was on 20 acres, and it was a stunningly beautiful Architectural Digest type house. And I brought in like a massage therapist in one room and a tarot reader in another room, and like a couple massage therapists actually with chair massages, and like a DJ in another room. And like this whole, like every room that you went to, you would have a different little experience in this potluck. Because I like to have like low responsibility. So I hired a couple of people, but I'm like, you guys just everybody bring whatever you want. Because if you invite people to a fabulous potluck, they bring like the nicest dishes and they spend a ton of cash. And then they bring all of these fancy things because they know other fancy people are going to be there with fancy things, and they have a lot of disposable income. So I had this fabuloso weekend party, and people could slumber party at my house because I had a huge, beautiful architectural digest house, or they could get a hotel in Santa Fe. And I invited a couple of people that I was on The Apprentice with. And it was right about when episode 4 was airing. Like that was when my birthday was. And we had a viewing party. Oh no, it was when episode 3 was airing and we had a viewing party of it because there was a lot of us. That's when I was a project manager. But like people stayed around for like when episode 4 was airing the next week. And a couple of the people on my cat, like that would have been an amazing viral video, but we didn't have social media back then at all. You didn't even capture moments like that. I probably don't even have pictures of that. And a bunch, probably 6 or 7 people from my season came out. And we weren't restricted from seeing each other as much because there was no social media. So no one's gonna like catch us. Like Facebook barely baby existed. So I threw this beautiful birthday party for myself, except for I just remembered my ex-boyfriend, who is a different ex-boyfriend than Jack, threw it for me. And I invited a bunch of people from The Apprentice. And one of the women that was on the alliance against me literally legit actually called me like the next week. And I was in Sedona. I remember it super vividly. I'm like driving down the road in Sedona, driving to San Diego. And she was like, well, I just can't believe that you didn't invite me to your birthday party. And I was like, number one, I didn't even know you had my cell phone number. Number two, we are not friends. Number three, this is not an Apprentice reunion. It's my actual birthday party and I don't like you. Literally, what are you talking about? And I'm like, you accused me of poisoning your food on national television and lying on national television. And she goes, well, I don't think you have any integrity. And I'm like, what? That is correct. I believe that you believe that that is true. And so why the actual fuck would I invite you to my home on my birthday? Literally, what universe do you live in that you think that I am going to do that? Yikes. Yikes. And so I was reconciling a lot back then because I was all of a sudden quite famous. And there were like weird murder allegations that were going to potentially be made against me on the show. And I knew that. And I own all of these huge companies that are like already struggling because when people talk about the recession of 2008, yeah, that started in 2006 because people changed their buying patterns. So I have all of this business stress that I'm dealing with, all of this financial stuff that I'm trying to reconcile with all of my different companies while simultaneously being like quite famous overnight when there was no direct route to monetize that, right? So for myself, I know I briefly mentioned my brother was like, you dropped the thread of that, Andrea. I'm like, I know, it's a story for a future episode. I briefly mentioned that I had started to get a stalker right about this point. Well, I was not the only one on that show who had a stalker. And there was no like immediate additional financial benefits. So like people that were not in my position when they had big companies and like a whole lot of land and a whole lot of freedom of movement to where like if I didn't want somebody to know where I was, it would be pretty hard for them to find me because I had a lot of places that I could maneuver between and a lot of friends that I would house swap with. I could be anywhere and quite off grid without leaving any kind of record because I was such a road trip gal. Because those of you who are new, I have driven every freeway in the United States and 70% of the scenic highways, and many of them multiple times. I've done the drive all the way across Canada multiple times. I've done the drive from like Whistler to San Diego. I don't even know how many times, 30? Literally don't know. I have over 1 million miles logged on my cars. I don't know how many times I've driven to Seattle or I've driven from Sedona to just like Whitefish, Montana or Jackson, or I don't even know how many times. So many or to Banff. I literally don't know how many times I've driven there because I love to travel, or to Colorado or to anywhere. And back and forth to Sedona from San Diego, just hundreds. It wouldn't surprise me if it was 1,000 times because it's been 22 years, but that would surprise me. Maybe hundreds though, hundreds and hundreds of times. So anyhow, I digress. That happens sometimes on the wine episodes. So it is episode 4, the boardroom, and basically everybody knows that Brett's gonna go home, and Trump looks at me and goes, Andrew, you just look like you're gonna vomit. You just look disgusted. And I was like, it's just invalidating everything we're doing here. It's just such a joke. It's just gross. It's just making this whole thing look like a circus or whatever the fuck I said, something similar to that. And then it was like, Brett, you fired. And I'm like, thank God. Like now we can just get on with the show. But do not think it escaped my attention that those ladies on my team tried to get me out right there and tried to say many bad things about them to plant a seed in Trump's ear that I'm like unreliable, not trustworthy, not doing a good job, not as smart as I think I am. Who does she think she is? They had a very who does she think she is vibe where I'm just like, I know who I am. You do not need to validate me. I do not care what you think a little bit at all. I don't. And the more that that is just my truth of like, I don't care what you think even a little bit at all whatsoever. And I'm not inviting you to my birthday party because we're not friends. I'm not going to be mean to you. I don't hate them. But like also, there are people in my life that I've encountered that will be in my life forever. And there are people in my life that I've encountered that did not rise to us liking each other in that way. And it was mutual. So why would I invite you to my house? Good question. We go to the boardroom. Brett, in fact, does get fired. And then from that moment forward, I'm just like, we're good. This is like easy because now the only person who is a true annoyance to me, how I'm truly annoyed by, is gone. Like everybody else is just like, you just are what you are. Like you just graduated from law school, so you're just starting your career. Or like Tammy was quite established as like a financial advisor. But like she and I were fine. We did not vibe. And she was like besties with Allie. And Allie like just had graduated from Harvard Business School, which is, I mean, come on, everybody wants to go there. But I was unimpressed because she had done very little in her career to that point because she wanted to be a broadcaster on TV. So she was stoked to get The Apprentice. And guess fucking what? Badass babe became a broadcaster on TV. That doesn't mean we're friends. We didn't keep up with each other, but I saw that and I was like, you fucking go. That's what you wanted. You wanted it. You got it. And I will cheer her on forever, but that doesn't mean I'm her best friend. Like, we didn't vibe with each other on the show, but I would cheer her success forever from afar. And I noticed she was throwing some shade because she was smart. She doesn't want some competition that Donald Trump is like, you can't beat her. She's got to be thinking with all of her smarts and all of her Harvard brains, got to get rid of that chick. So I'm not even saying it was a bad strategy. I am saying I didn't know how reality TV worked. We will talk in the upcoming episodes of The Apprentice how very much I didn't understand that an alliance was a thing that existed, or that there was one being formed against me, or that might be a problem. I know we were way off in the weeds because we had a wine episode of The Apprentice in San Diego on this lovely Memorial Day weekend. I can't wait to fill you in next week on everything Sticker Wars. So much has gone on. Upcoming next week on the Sticker Wars episode, there's a huge fumongously huge thank you, all of the thank you meeting that came out of the Milken Institute for the TV show and the documentary. That is as much as I can say about who that is with and how that is going, but it is happy news. Also, next week, we're going to talk about Jenny Appreciation Day, which is tomorrow, and she doesn't even know it yet, where everybody at the StickerJunkie office is going to show up in purple and celebrate our amazing office manager, Jenny, and her future with the company moving up to my chief of staff and bringing in a different office manager. I'm very excited because we're getting ready for the expansion now that things are really turning the corner. Sticker Wars is wild. We are going after and getting all of the business. I'm very excited to fill you in next week on everything that's happening in StickerJunkie and with our growth. And like, thank you to everyone who is listening to the pod and also ordering stickers from StickerJunkie.com, where you can get a 10% discount by using the promo code Andrea Lake 101. You guys, we still do actually need more sales. We still have had some sad sales charts from the previous months. Yeah, where we're just barely missing our goals, but it's because we've been waiting for the months where all of the big sales start to close. That is right now, but we are really reaching to hugely pace up the scale of this company. So if you are with a public library or a government agency or a Planned Parenthood or a dispensary or brewery or Fortune 500 or a brand new clothing line making your first stickers ever, and you want to get your stickers from somewhere, please come to StickerJunkie.com. We are a small but mighty women-owned small business that has big goals this year to scale. So please don't just get your stickers from us. Please tell your friends to get your stickers from us. And please also like and follow Andrea Lake 101. Please drop a comment in the comment section. Tell me anything. Ask me any business questions. I really do read the comments all still myself as of May 22nd, 2025. Please ask me a question or leave a comment because I read them and I see them. And I can't wait to come to you next time with the next episode of Andrea Lake 101, The Making of a Billionaire, Sticker Wars. I hope the rest of your night is amazing.